So effectively, we started with a map that was about, Black Flag world map and replaced the water with land. So we felt we're at the time, we can do it, we can pull it off. And then being set in ancient Egypt and taking the time period of Cleopatra, it's about over 1,000 years before the first AC. So it kind of gave us a really good standing point to say, you know what, we can tell an epic story that is really important to the series, which is the origin. And then, of course, it was a matter of how do we infuse Egypt intimately into that origin story. So for sure, things like religion, culture, the background of our characters, the background of Bayek and who he is intimately married into that birth.
Now, I'm a bit not confused, but between Cleopatra's time, is that New, Middle, or Old Egypt?
So this is the end of the old era.
Okay.
So this is around 49 BCE.
Okay, perfect.
So effectively, she's the last pharaoh. We felt that this was a time period where Egypt is very rich already with history and culture. So that even if Bayek, our protagonist, is roaming through the world, that he's still discovering his own country, because we want our players to discover it as well. But it also affords us to meet epic characters like Caesar and Cleopatra, to go through the end of the old era, the beginning of a new world. And it felt like that this was an amazing crucible of history to give the birth of our order, which lasts for 2,000 years in our lore. So it just felt like, the stars were aligning. This is an epic time period for us, and it connected really well with what was happening at the time period.
So tell me, the landscape, the environment, the feel, the passion, the emotion that you put into Cleopatra, as we saw in the trailer, looking at her subjects, you can see the love that was put into this game. I'm blown away.
Thank you.
Egypt, such a well-rich, lore-heavy, history-bringing place. What research did you guys do to? This looks amazing. I feel like
Thank you.
I was there. I feel like I'm there right now. What research went into this?
Well, we're one of the only series that takes a look at history from this perspective, where we embed you deeply into that history and have you interact with the people, the situations, the locales. So we take it very seriously. We say history is our playground, which means that, we're creating a fiction, but it's a credible fiction. We try to do justice to the culture, to the time period. So we do a lot of research. The first 2 years of this project, as we're building prototypes, as we're figuring out the gameplay, we're doing a ton of research with historians, with Egyptologists on what are the details of this time, who are its people, what happened, not only in the big moments that we're aware of. So, for example, the Siege of Alexandria, which is a big epic moment,
Of course.
but in the details of what was happening in Memphis, what was happening in the Giza Plateau. So we spent years researching. We have historians embedded in our team that are always there when we do, let's say, narrative reviews, discussions about locations, just to give us, making sure we understand the anecdote of history. So we take it very seriously. We feel a responsibility to do justice to the culture, the time period, the history of it. If in some strange way we're somehow educating people on history, on Egypt, without them even realizing it, that's wonderful for us. So definitely a ton of effort goes into the research and bringing this world to life.
Beyond the setting, what else has changed in Origins between the gameplay and mechanics? Has anything been added?
Oh, absolutely. When I say we wanted to refresh the experience at some point means the narrative structure, the gameplay, the way content is presented to our players. It's effectively everything.
Yeah, the UI even, right?
Exactly. It's the way the players reads the game and reacts to it. So from the controllers, the combat system is built from scratch. We wanted something that was very versatile, something that was very dynamic. We wanted the RPG element to be much stronger in this game, that leveling up, having abilities, finding gear. So for example here, finding new gear really matters to the player. So making sure that works within the combat system, within stealth, was a lot that we had to work on. Here, this is an ability that we're seeing, which is that the players can kind of change the time of day, because
the ability to sleep.
Exactly. We call it meditation. He's meditating.
Okay.
He's really
I actually wasn't far off.
Introspecting. But the idea is, the world is really alive. NPCs, the people who inhabit this world, have schedules, have agendas and needs. Soldiers, if you try to infiltrate a place at night, you might have half the soldiers sleeping. Or during the day that they're more on patrol, but maybe they've left the area. So maybe you have more guards at night, but more are sleeping. So the idea is players can really approach the world, the challenges at their own pace with a lot of different tools. Here we can see we're running into a tomb, which is a very cool way for us to create a more linear gameplay challenge. So puzzles, navigation challenges, that kind of thing, but still within the context of this big open world. So a lot of new mechanics, a lot of new things for players to explore and experience.
I mean, the first thing I noticed when I seen one of the first trailers was the combat.
Yeah.
It's so fluid, and it looks amazing. And you were talking about bringing some RPG elements to it.
Yeah.
I saw numbers.
Yeah,
Are those for crits or?
Yeah.
That blew,
we have
like seeing that.
full-blown RP. So we get a lot of questions about that. So in terms of UI, people can play with that. They can turn it off if they don't like it. But myself, I love the RPG elements.
Yes.
I want to see my crits. I want to see my.
I love to min-max, right?
Exactly.
Like, I want the best weapon. So can you change your weapons? Can you change your armor? Like, can you upgrade them?
Oh, absolutely. So there's a massive gear system where gear has rarities, levels, attributes, properties. So for sure, you can find weapons that do bleeding damage, weapons that have crit. Oh yeah, we've gone far into the realm of RPG. Again, we felt like we're making a really big step for AC, something that's new. We wanted that if someone is playing the game for 40, 50 hours, the game's constantly rewarding them, providing them new challenges. So boss fights are a big thing in the game. There's a ton of bosses in the world.
If they defeat all the bosses, do they get something extra?
Oh, whoa. Let's put it this way. No. Let's put it this way. We consistently reward our players for exploring the game, for playing its challenges. So most definitely, the bosses constantly offer really awesome rewards.
I'm just saying, I'm a
There's lots of cool
completionist.
surprises.
Yeah.
So if I have to collect something, like, I want to make sure that I get all of it. And there's a lot of that in the game.
Absolutely. We have a lot of stuff. We wanted that the game also feels organic, but you can trust the fact that if you explore, if you fight an awesome boss, you're gonna get some.
Egypt is divided. Vast armies amass, while great leaders conspire. Ptolemy, the boy king, he wants the entire region kept under heel.
If you ally with my sister, I will kill every last Roman in Alexandria.
But he is a puppet. We do not know who pulls the strings. The exiled queen Cleopatra thirsts for power.
We have informants in each region.
Across Egypt, mysterious forces work against us.
She wields followers with lethal skill in pursuit of her throne.
It is time for assassinations.
Caesar, the legendary tactician, with the might of Rome at his back, His true motives are unclear.
Together we can do more than Alexander did.
He will have his say before this war is over. Good, evil. These are phantasms of the desert. Willpower is all that matters. You may not be a king, Bayek, but history follows you.
There's a lover in the story, but the story's still the same. There's a lullaby for suffering and a paradox to blame. But it's written in the scriptures and it's not some idle claim. You want it darker? We kill the flame. They're lining up the prisoners and the guards are taking aim. I struggled with some demons, they were middle class and tame. I didn't know I had permission to murder into me. You want it darker?
Assassin's Creed Origins. Available October 27th. Pre-order now and get a bonus mission.